What's up, everybody? It's your favorite childhood toys, favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the X-Transbots Berserker Scout Crackup MXXIIIT. This is getting out of hand, isn't it? The toy version. This is my only pickup from TFCon. I kind of didn't want to come home empty-handed. I always like to have something from the show. Pardon me, I'm still a bit under the weather. I'm working on it. But I love the Stunticons. The toys have a special place in my heart. The characters have a special place in my heart. I figured if I was to go in on something like this across the board in the franchise, it probably should be the Stunticons, and thus here we are. So let's take a look at them. Because this is the second time we've looked at the mold, we're going to start at robot mode and go into vehicle mode. There are some significant differences with this guy, aside from the obvious. There's a few subtle ones as well, or at least one subtle one that I can't wait to talk about, but now's not the time. That being said, let's take a look at him, but we'll start with accessories. He comes with this signature gun. The handle flips down and flips up. It looks good. It looks sharp. It looks clean. It's painted with metallic blue. That looks beautiful. Well done. He'll hold it just fine in typical Masterpiece style with the peg into the palm, and it'll peg in to the top of the car. So let's look at the figure. The most obvious change, right, is the head. With the red paint on the face sculpt, the whole design, very G1 toy, brings me back, hits me in the feels, all that kind of stuff. I do get my nostalgic kicks off of that face, I'm going to be honest with you. It works for me. Otherwise, rotation and stuff's still the same, still a hinge swivel, so you get up to there, down to there, and a swivel. We have the shoulders, which are pretty much the same. You have the one joint here. It does still have a tendency to push out these clips, but you do have it. And then you have an additional ratcheted hinge that can pretty much get the arm all the way up. Same for the other side. And then you'll get it like out as well, which is nice. So it's like a reverse butterfly. Nothing really on the proper butterfly. Then you have the swivel around. So all of that works well as usual. In regard to the bicep, you have a bicep swivel. You have a double jointed elbow that gets you the full run. And you have the G1 toy tech details on the arms. It doesn't translate very well, I'll be honest, but it is kind of fun in that same sort of motif. Do you know what I mean? And it's like a silver, red, black, and yellow paint and tampo work, etc., etc. It's well done. It looks goofy, but it's kind of supposed to, right? Do we all agree? Good. Wrist swivel. Fingers are on a base pin knuckle with typewriter fingers. The hands are painted. I'm not sure if the other ones were. I don't think they were. A lot of this is painted that wasn't before. The crack rock beige is painted. All of the chest and pelvis is painted. The blue is painted. This thing is painted to the nines. It's beautiful. Beautiful finish. Doesn't chip, at least not in my experience. It's fantastic. Fantastic deco. The joints are toleranced well. I don't notice like any kind of mold degradation or anything, and I think this is the third time they used the mold. I think they released the original twice. I could be wrong about that, and then they released this one. The mold's holding up well. The paint is extra and it's holding up well. No complaints. Same for the other side. We have the waist swivel. If you open up the backpack, you get the full swivel. You also get the rocker at the hinge at the waist. Silver paint on the chest, the blue metallic paint on the sides and on the middle. No issues. You have these pieces. We have a little bit of sculpt change there too. These like rivets there. They flip up. They're on a hinge. And then you have universal joints up to there. Back to there for pretty much the full Monty. Pretty much the full Van Damme. Thigh swivel built around the universal. No complaint there. As I stated before, the thighs are swiveled. That little piece right here on the knee is painted gold. Nice little touch. Like I think they really cared about this, and it shows. We have the G1 toy detailings down there and down there on top of the blue metallic paint, which is breathtaking. And we have the knee on a single hinge that gets you 90 degrees. No issues. Ankles, we have a rocker, pretty substantial. We have an ankle tilt down, a heel spur that gets you some support. No ankle tilt up. And there he is from the back. It's pretty good, man. Like, and it's it's obviously a niche thing, but it's for being a niche thing, it's good. I honestly wish they would have given this level of deco, not to say that I want this on the proper one, but the finish paint on the crack rock beige and all that kind of stuff. I wish they would have done that to the original release because it does look quite nice. There he is next to the original. I mean, look how much nicer. Look at these things popping up again. Oh, God, I shouldn't even mess with it now. Look what I'm doing. But, I mean, look how much nicer the beige paint looks on the new one rather than the flat plastic on the old one. You know, it's night and day. It's fantastic. It looks great. And just for S&Gs, there's my breakdown collection. DX9, left to right DX9, X-Transbots Toys, Generation Toy, or Transformation, I forget which name they were going under at the time, X-Transbots G1, and Fans Toys. Quite the Stunnicon collection I am accumulating. Dim the rules, I suppose. So let's get them transformed, and we'll start with the backs. Turn the spoiler around 180. Unfold these pieces. Remember, this is the last thing that we'll have to do, so just keep them out in the open and accounted for. You can then extend this piece down and sort of just keep track of it. And then take your head. This is the one part that's not quite toleranced well. Loosen up this connection and unfurl the backpack. And now we'll deal with this kind of on its own. Unfold these pieces from the base of the windshield. You can bring these two pieces up. Remember, as you bring this up, you're going to come over top of these tabs, and then once you've lined up the hood, then you just collapse everything back down. Our old buddies now, the shoulder holders, as I like to call them in my camera on voice. Flip these pieces up, the little clips. You can rotate these or close them into this little spot there. You can rotate them around 180 as you do so, and then extend the chest. Take the chest piece and flip it up. This will flip his head in. It used to be you had to open up this thing on the back of the other one's head. For this one, you don't need to, it seems. Turn the wrist 180. Open up the panel on the forearm so that it sits flat, and then you collapse this piece here with the little notch on it down in two. Same for the other side. Rotate the wrist 180. Open up the panel that creates the forearm. Rock the elbow back so that that little notch there sits into that cavity. Rotate at one hinge at the base where the shoulders are up, and then another hinge where the tires are down so that it kind of gets the wheels in the right spot and the arms in the right spot. Move your arms into position and plug them in to this middle bar here. So one, and then two, and then you can close up underneath the hood. Turn the thighs 180 and turn the waist 180. Bring up your front pieces of your knee, fold this flap around to the back, and then the ones on the outside you fold in your little one, and then you gotta get it around the pipes there. Same for this side. This one comes around to the front, and then these two come around to the inside. Fold the feet by collapsing both the heels and the front of the foot. Unfurl the sides. Flip. These are on sliders, if you recall. So slide, well, I guess keep them up. You can get your foot out of the way. Bring the windshield or the side window down, and then slide them back down. Now that you have the legs back together, slide them out on these joints here, and then flip them up towards the center and start lining them up underneath the windshield. Bring your tailgate down and around to the back. This will start lining up your side panels. On the bottom, get these pieces inside of your tailboard there, your bumper, and then rock them down and close this up. Same on this side. Flip in this piece, start connecting all these side pieces the best you can, and then lastly flip down these two side pieces. I'll get them cleaned up, we'll take a look at them. And I think it's a decent car. I mean, we've talked about it before, obviously. The paint comes through nicely, quite nicely. Looks good. And like, I'd have to get my original breakdown down to see if it was translucent here or not, but I don't think it was, right? It wasn't, right? No. So it would have been nice for them to have done that as well. Otherwise, I mean, it's pretty much exactly what we've looked at, but everything looks good. It looks sharp. The one thing that does bum me out is that it didn't come with an extra piece to make like the adapter thing to clip in here to bring the gun up and around like the G1 toy did. Like, I used to love that about those. I don't know, maybe I'm alone, but when I was a kid, I used to I never armed up weapons like on vehicles when I was a kid, except for the Stunticons. I always put in those guns over top. It just looked like a part of it. It looked natural. It looked right. But there it is, and there's Tiger Tracks. Final thoughts, let's talk about the negatives. And honestly, it's pretty much identical, right? It's pretty much everything that I said about the original stays true to this. So I'm going to say, in addition to the original, I wish they would have included some sort of an adapter piece to allow you to do the G1 car gimmick with the accessory. I think that would have been really cool, and I think it's kind of an oversight. I'll also say that some of the tolerances are affected by the paint. It's minor, but it's there. I can feel it on the blue flaps on the legs. I can feel it in the bicep swivel. I can feel it on the pieces that swing around to form the top of the chest. It's minor, extremely minor. And if I wasn't sitting here messing with the original, I would never think to mention it. Positives wise though, I do think there is a charm to the G1 look regarding it. It is nice to see. It does make me feel good. I don't know how else to describe that. It's like stupid looking in all the right ways, if that makes sense. The price is right. To be fair, everything else kind of sits in. Plus, I love the added paint on the beige of the car, the crack rock beige. It just shows up beautifully. I wish they would have done it to the original. It makes a difference. It is noticeable. Other than that, articulation's the same. The sculpt changes are great. Cleans up well. Some decent hardware used. Not across the board, but where it is used, like in the shoulders. Alt mode is beautiful. Strong presence. So it's a recommend from me if you're interested in the niche of the whole thing. And to be fair, I'm not sure I would have picked this up had I not been at a show and didn't want anything else. But I'm glad I have it. So that's got to count for something. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.